Hello, and we are back with our personal yoga training tutorials. My name is Megan Tyler, and I am here to guide you through another posture for breaking down the modifications and the variations that are accessible to you in your practice. And part of that is understanding the importance of why these postures are available. It's so that you can explore your practice, so that you can have a scale to work on in your practice, right? To listen to your body, to build on that mind body connection, to know when you are in a place where you can challenge yourself and do a more progressed posture, a variation that's going to ask more of you in the energy they exert, in the muscles that you use, in the strength that you need, or when your body is telling you, hey, let's back off, let's do maybe a posture that offers a little less in terms of where I'm able to go today because my body is feeling tighter, my body is feeling more restricted, right? So these videos are to help you understand that there's so much more than just the shape in a posture. It's understanding what works for your unique body because each of us are going to be very different. So, with that being said, our posture for today is Bhujagasana, Cobra pose, which I see so many students do without knowing the proper way and the safe way to go about it. And so they wonder why it feels painful, or they wonder why it hurts after a while, or they might not come to enjoy this pose because they don't realize that there are other ways to build up the strength so that it doesn't hurt or it feels more accessible, right? There's so much ways to play in this posture. So Bhujagasana, baby cobra, is one of those where we're on our belly. Let's head back to our mat and let's show you how this goes. So for our Bhujagasana Cobra pose, you might see yourself starting from your tabletop. And then you might come down to the belly to make your way there to start, right? So our Cobra pose generally looks like this shape, right? It's a back bend. It's opening through the heart. It's great for opening through the collarbone, for opening through the lungs, for all of this opening through the front side of the body, as well as great for back bend, for spinal strength, for spinal alignment, right? You're also able to engage into the glutes. The legs aren't doing much work, but there is a little bit of engagement in the glutes and the inner thighs. You're pressing down into all 10 fingers as you lift tall through the spine and pull that chest forward and up. But while you're doing that, right, the hips are relaxed. This can cause a lot of tension on the spine. If you aren't ready for this, this can be a lot into that low back and might not be comfortable to come up, right? It might be more harmful to come up into this shape. And while you're holding here in a pose, in a class, it can be a lot, right? So if this feels a lot, come down. Let's start to modify this and see where we can take it so that you can feel more comfortable. So from there, maybe you spread the legs out a little wider. Maybe you walk the hands up a little further towards the top of the mat. So by doing that, pressing back up, you're able to lessen the bend that you're feeling in the back. You still want to press into the palms and lift tall through the spine, right? Lift tall through the crown of the head, but you're not finding as much of an arch and yanking up into that back. If that doesn't feel good, keep walking those hands forward. You can walk them forward as much as you need to lessen into that bend, right? The opposite of that, if you're feeling like, no, I have more space to offer, you can walk the hands towards the hips and press, finding a deeper, right? A little bit deeper sensation. We're still lengthening up, still allowing those hips to relax forward, still opening through the chest, the collarbone, right? So that is two different sides of the scale, easing up or taking it a little deeper, right? But if you're like, wow, that's still a little too much for me, which is okay, right? You got to start somewhere. Come to baby cobra. Baby cobra is walking those feet together, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat so the knees start to lift off the mat. You start to feel the glutes engage, the inner thighs engage. The hands just place underneath the shoulders like little grasshopper wings with the elbows bent. So you might like flap them a little. We want to keep them tight to the rib cage. Those elbows are bent, hands are light, and then relax that chin down for a moment as you let all that air out. Exhale, And as you inhale, press into the tops of the feet. Start to lift the crown of the head up as you peel the chest forward and up. Same kind of motion, peeling forward and up, opening through the chest, through the collarbone. But this time you're lifting crown of the head up. You're not having to press as much up and arch as much, but you're still feeling that work of your back strength here. Glutes are slightly engaged. We're pressing into the tops of the feet. The knees are lifted off the mat as we squeeze those inner thighs together. Your gaze is forward. Your crown of the head is lifting. You're squeezing those elbows into the rib cage. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Maybe you're lifting a little higher. We're light into those palms, so you're not pressing so much into the mat as you are using that back strength to lift. And then you can lower it back down. That's your baby cobra. It can be great for back strengthening those back muscles there, right? If you feel like you need even more so support in your full cobra pose, grab a blanket. If you feel like you have too much weight in that cobra pose on your hands and wrists, you can place a blanket underneath the hands, right? Giving you a little extra padding so that when you relax down, you can press into something that's not as firm as the floor. It's not as hard on those wrists, right? So that's also an option to consider in your cobra pose. All these modifications are a great way to explore your practice, to just see how they feel, right? So maybe you've seen one that you haven't tried before and that you haven't experienced before. But maybe you didn't know that in your cobra pose, you can come down into that baby cobra, that's an option, right? Maybe you didn't know about the baby cobra. Maybe you didn't know about the options in your cobra pose of moving your hands forward and back to play on that scale. But now you know, right? It's about having these tools in the back of our pocket so that we can pull them out when we need them, right? By listening to our body, and our body's going to tell us what tool we need to pull out, what variation to use, right? And that's why yoga can be so fun, is it's a scale that you get to play on, and you get to see where your body's at. You get to respect your body and where it's at. You get to honor your body and where it's at and what it's asking for in the moment. And that practice goes so much more beyond just your physical practice, right? Being able to find that sense of being okay where you're at, off your mat, in your mind, in the world, is so powerful. And that's where this translates eventually over time as you practice. So I encourage you to join me as we continue along in these personal training videos where I teach you these different yoga postures and how you can modify them to suit your unique body, right? Because the more you practice, the more you learn, the more you can deepen your connection, and the more you can have fun with it, right? You don't have to take it so seriously. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about these variations, what posture might have been your favorite so far out of the tutorials I've done, what posture you're looking for, you're waiting for me to do. Let me know so that I can put that on the next to do. And I look forward to seeing you guys back here for another video next week.